Welcome to the new series on KTB performance. My name is Kabir, and today we're going to be discussing the difference between aerobic and anaerobic exercise, providing some simple drills for also the anaerobic system. So let's get into it. So to begin, during this whole quarantine thing, a lot of athletes are performing long distance runs. Some of them are doing 5 to 10 kilometer runs. Now that's great. You need to build your aerobic system. But they're failing to recognize they also need to work on their anaerobic system. Now, what's the difference between the two? The aerobic system is basically low intensity exercise, whereas the anaerobic system is high intensity exercise. Now, it doesn't mean that if you don't have weights, it doesn't mean you can't work on your anaerobic system. A lot of people think weights and deadlifts are the only way to do it, since it's high intensity exercise and you're lifting a lot of heavy weight. But sprints are really good for your anaerobic system, especially for basketball athletes. Now, just to break this down even further, if you look at soccer players, they're skinnier, right? And now they rely more on their aerobic system. Now you look at football players, they rely more on the anaerobic system, which is basically high intensity, short burst of performance, and then you take a longer duration of rest, where soccer players are running for a longer period of time, and that's more so aerobic. Now basketball is basically a mixture of those two together, right? So yes, you also really want to work on your aerobic system, which is that long distance running, but like football athletes, we also have to work on an anaerobic system, because if you watch a basketball player, yes, you need to be able to run up and down the court all the time, but you also need to be really, really fast. And in basketball, speed kills, and that's something that we really know. So today I'll be breaking down 3 different exercises you can use to boost your anaerobic system with minimal equipment. Let's get into it. So the first thing, like I already said, are sprints. Sprints are great, and now there are also many added benefits of sprint. You're targeting your butt, your hips, your hamstrings, your quads, your calves, your abs, and not only that, you're helping build long, lean muscle, and that's why a lot of professional athletes incorporate sprints into their workouts, these high-intensity exercises. Now, one more thing about the aerobic system: if you're doing a long-distance runs for a long period of time, there are some athletes I know that are doing about 4 to 5 aerobic days of workouts, and thing is, you're going to end up losing muscle, because you're not using that muscle at a high force like the anaerobic system would. So we need to split up our workouts into aerobic and then anaerobic. So that's the main thing I want to discuss. Now, as for the first thing I said, the sprints. So a good way to work on your sprints is to have about 2 to 3 sprint days a week. And now each of these days, it's best to perform 10-yard sprints for about 10 reps. And now remember, not like the aerobic system where you're continuously doing and you're taking less breaks because you're performing at a low intensity. With the anaerobic system, we're going to be performing those sprints at 10 yards at the highest intensity we can, so as fast as you basically can, and then you want to take a long adequate break to fully recover. So for your next run or sprint, you won't be doing that again at full intensity. So now what the second thing is, you're going to be doing a 10-yard sprint again. However, this time you're going to be before you get into that 10 yard or that first yard before you enter your sprint, you're going to be doing a jog. And once you hit that 1 yard, you can basically set up a cone there, so it's kind of like an indication of when to start sprinting. Once you hit that cone, you're going to be sprinting full speed. And basically, you'll be working on your acceleration. And now once you hit that 10-yard line, it's best to put another cone there, and then you have to decelerate into a jog. Now with basketball athletes, why this drill works out really well is because when you see a guy in a court, for example, LeBron James, if he's going for a block, he might be going for a slow, steady jog, and then right when the opportunity comes, he has to accelerate. And then we have to learn how to accelerate, so that sprint exercise I just talked about works really, really well. Now, the second thing is, this also works in the anaerobic system, is quickness and basically agility. We want to be working on the quickness of our feet. Now, yes, ball handling is great. You want to work on your hand speed, but also our foot speed is actually really, really important. Those two complement each other really, really well. If you're working on your hand dribble speed all the time and your foot speed is slow, it's hard to get past your defender. So make sure you are working on your foot speed. Now, simple things you can do, like in the video, like I'm showing right now, is you can lay down a duct tape even, or like a piece of tape on the ground, and basically you can shuffle your feet left and right over the duct tape. And now you can do this for 2 sets for 30 seconds. Now the second thing you can do is with that same duct tape is shuffle front and back. So you can do 2 sets of 30 seconds with the same duct tape again. And then the last thing is I like to do is both feet hop over the duct tape back and forth. And again, I like to do that for about 30 seconds. Now the third thing I really want to talk about with the anaerobic system is that in basketball, we already know this, your first step has to be lethal, right? You look at guys like James Harden, or I even like De'Aaron Fox a lot. Their first step is so explosive, and that helps them get them past their defender. Yes, their handles are really good, but their first step is really lethal. So the thing you want to work on, this is another exercise to add, is a falling sprint start. Now basically in the video like I'm showing right now, you're allowing your body to fall forward, and as soon as its body is about to basically fall, you don't let it fall, but as soon as it's about to fall, you want to kick up your right leg or your left leg, and then the opposite arm, right, in alternate fashion, really explosively, and then burst off into a 5-yard sprint. Now you want to do that for about 5 sets. So once again in the video you can see my body begins to fall, and as I fall, I instantly burst into a sprint. And that first step, as you can see my opposite leg, I'm really pushing into the ground, and then I'm exploding off it. Now you want to do that for about 5 sets for 5 yards, and as you become better at it and you have more energy to do so, you can boost it up and go for about 6-7 sets. Now that all totally depends on you. Now with these 3 exercises, like I already mentioned, it's best not to do them after you go for a long run, right? So like I said, you want to do this when you're fully energized and when you're like you have a lot of energy. Whereas the aerobic system, yeah, you can go for your long run and all that, but with these anaerobic exercises, you want to perform every rep at maximum capacity. So make sure you get adequate rest in between, and make sure you're not mixing up aerobic and then anaerobic exercises within the same part of the day. So you can wake up in the morning and go for your sprints, do all that, and then end the day off with aerobic exercise. But it's not a good idea to go for a long run and then kind of dive into your anaerobic exercises, because the thing is you're not going to be performing those at the intensity you need to be doing it at, because you just drained your body beforehand. So hopefully that helps you guys out. And remember, as athletes, we need a combination of both systems if we really want to maximize our potential and take ourselves to the next level. So thank you for tuning in, and stay tuned for next episode.